Let me take a guess. You have done all the journaling 1,005,000 times. You are self aware as hell. And you're still having trouble moving forward. Yes, I get it. Been there, done that. And honestly, there have been a lot of times when I have thought to myself, I am so self aware. Why don't I just trust myself to move forward? Right. Well, I think sometimes we can get into a self awareness paralysis that stops us from moving forward. And, um, and that is exactly what we're going to get into today, including how do we move ourselves forward out of that. Um, and into making decisions so that and trusting yourself after you have made the decision, not just trusting yourself to make the right decision, but making a decision, acting, and trusting yourself in the aftermath of what shows up on the other side of that, because you can never predict what's on the other side of that decision. I promise you. I promise you. All the overthinking in the world has never helped me actually get to a point where I am in a place that this that I have made the right decision. No, no. I don't think I've ever made the right decision. I've just made a decision and taken a step forward. But how do we get out of the self awareness paralysis of the whole thing and actually take a step forward and trust ourselves on the other side of the decision making, even when we think we know ourselves so well? Why am I still stuck? Why am I still overthinking this whole decision? I don't know. Um, we're going to get into all of that today in this video. Hi, hello. My name is Mackenzie, and welcome to Big Love Studio. If you've never been here before, I help people trust themselves through uncertain situations, catch their patterns, and help them move through them by creating tools that'll help them, and not abandon themselves in the process of the trust making. It's very important. Uh, and I'm happy that you're here. Thank you for being here. And like, comment, subscribe, all of those things. It is a free way that helps us reach more people. And I love community contributions. Your voice belongs here too. So bring your voice to the comment section so we can all learn together. That's what this is all about. All right. So self awareness paralysis. This is something that I have experienced over and over and over again. I thought at one point that being self aware was the thing that was going to lead me to self trust. And that didn't always work the way that I thought it was going to. And why didn't that why did that not work, right? Because you would think that one second. Just blowing out my crazy work candle. Do you want to see my work candle? I'm going to show you really quick. I have this like wild work candle. It's just getting to the end. See? Um So I wanted basically, this is a huge side note, but I wanted this is what it's like hanging out with me in real time. So I wanted something that would visually show me how much I actually work because I work online. So I started this work candle from the suggestion of Ebby Moyer, who is on Instagram. Love her stuff. And she has one too. And I just think it's so fun. It's like super sculpture. I'm going to need another plate underneath it very soon. Um, but Okay. My self-awareness in this moment is that I am neurodivergent. But okay, so let's go back. Let's go back. This is what it's like hanging out with me, just so you know. But self-awareness paralysis, this is what it is. So, I think this is my opinion. This is how I think about self-awareness. So, why has self-awareness not helped me create self-trust? Well, sometimes I think what can happen with self-awareness is that I have been self-aware to the point that it's limiting myself because my self-awareness starts to create labels. And within those labels are boxes. And they keep me very small in these boxes, right? And so sometimes I use the self-awareness as a way of keeping myself comfortable in that small box and saying, well, I can't do that because I'm this. Or how could I do that because I'm this, right? The truth is that you have the ability to reach any place that you would like. And I already can hear the objections. Well, no, I can't do that because I'm this, right? Our brains, and if you have watched any of my videos, or at least a few of my videos have this in it. We have this incredible thing called neuroplasticity, right? We're able to create new neural pathways in the brain that help us learn new things. This does not mean that they come easily. Just because you did it, you created a new pattern or you started a new habit like one day, doesn't mean that that groove in the brain has formed, right? It does not mean that it is fully formed. What That's why we say things like it takes 21 days to create a new habit. That's why you hear stuff like that, because what we're doing is we're creating a new neural pathway in the brain. So if you imagine that from here to here is like a pattern that your brain does over and over and over again, that groove is very deep in the brain, right? You think about all the little grooves in the brain. That groove is very, very deep in the brain. But when you're creating a new neural pathway over here, right? That pathway is not fully formed. And I like to think about it as drawing a line in wet sand on the beach, where you draw the line, but it kind of like fills in a little bit. And then you draw the line again and it gets a little bit deeper. And then you draw the line again and it gets a little bit deeper and it kind of stays there a little bit more this time. But it takes time and repetition for that to work. And it doesn't mean over years and years of practice that that's going to work every single time, because we still have this one. That guy has taken you a long time to create that pathway. So this guy, I'm really impressed with my marker skills right now. Um, this guy is a little baby, right? And it takes a longer time to establish that as the main pathway, right? This guy is still gonna be like doing the thing, right? More often than not. And so, um that is what I'm going to offer you to your objection of I can't do that. I can't do this new thing because of XYZ, right? But I think going back to the self-awareness paralysis, I think For me, what has happened is I have focused on the limitations that come with my self-awareness sometimes. You know, I can't do X because I'm ADHD, right? I well, I don't like that because I'm this, right? Um or, I'm thinking of like different examples. Like somebody was saying um okay, vegans, don't come at me for this comment. Like this is not really about being vegan, but I saw this great example on the internet and somebody was like, "Oh, well, if you can't be vegan, um or if you feel like you can't be vegan because you like bacon too much, then just be vegan plus bacon." Right? You can expand in all of that examples just to say you can expand your understanding of the thing instead of making it confine you into this little tiny box, because being vegan plus bacon is still probably getting you to a place that feels a lot better, because if it's that you're hoping that you're thinking about the animals and like all of that, like if you're thinking about your health, like consuming less meat might be the way for you, right? You have to decide that, but it doesn't mean that you have to do everything inside of that box. What if you expanded the version of that awareness, right? And thought to yourself, like, well, what am I limiting myself on here, right? And what are the limitations I'm creating because of my self-awareness, right? And how can I create openings and opportunities or possibilities? You don't even have to know if it's actually going to work or not, right? Um and open up to the possibility that something could shift if I didn't put myself so far into this box. So that's one part of it, right? Of these boxes that we create. But I think also self-awareness paralysis can get into self-awareness paralysis is just something I made up, by the way. I don't know if that's real or not, but it worked in my head. So, the other thing that I think it can be, is a stress response. Um, Overthinking is a stress response. And sometimes, like, I don't know if you've done this, but I've journaled myself into like the pits of despair before, because I have just been ruminating and dwelling and overthinking a question, and really just like in my journal, over and over and over again. How am I going to fix this? How am I going to fix this? How am I going to fix this? Right. And sometimes journaling can lead us to openings. Like, I don't think anything is hands down bad. But, um, and also, when does it become a place that we are avoiding taking action because we're uncomfortable with how we're going to deal with the decision afterward? Sometimes I think with journaling, it's just that we're having a stress response and we're thinking that this is going to help us kind of figure it out, because sometimes it does, right? But sometimes it's this moment of avoiding where we are like just, you know, harping on the question until we are so tired that we can't even take action at that point, right? And so I think journaling is a wonderful tool. I just want to hands down say that. And anything can, we can take anything and push it past the limits into a place where it's not helpful anymore, right? So, what do we do about self-awareness paralysis? Whew, this is a great question. Um, what do we do about self-awareness paralysis? I think it all comes back. I'm going to say an answer that might feel counterintuitive, but noticing is something that I practice a lot, right? And noticing is a tool that I use to help me meet myself with curiosity and non judgment. This is something that I teach inside of the Portal of Self Trust, and there will be a link below. But we're opening that this spring, and we're accepting new people into the program. I'm very excited. But all of that to say, noticing, it sounds like more self awareness, doesn't it? When I say noticing with curiosity and non judgment. But I think sometimes, I think it, to me, noticing has to do with detaching from self awareness. Just stay with me here. So, noticing is about paying attention to what is here and present now, not who you think you are, not the boxes that you have created around your identity and around yourself, like your who you who you think you are, right? The boxes of identity, right? It is about being present with what is happening in your body, in your mind at this very moment, with curiosity and non-judgment. And how I think that differs from self-awareness is that a sensation that's happening in your body isn't necessarily, you don't have to label it. You don't even have to do anything about it. You don't have to fix it or anything. You just have to notice it. And to me, self-awareness like can put us in this box of things, and you might have a different definition of that, but for this video, this is where we're at. Noticing is not about, it is about awareness of what's happening in your present moment, but it doesn't put us into you should be feeling anything or you should be XYZ or you can't, right? Noticing helps us take a step outside of that and tap into what's real right now. So I think for me, this has helped me step forward more than not, because what I think is very important on the other side of the decision making, on the other side of when I'm taking action, is to be with what is now, not the opinions or the thoughts that are running inside of my head, but the um what is coming up in my body, and acknowledging that that's real, what is coming up in my mind, and noticing if I am putting myself in a box of self-awareness, Noticing when I'm in my overthinking, noticing when I'm journaling to escape making a decision, and noticing that I have other options. And I it's so nuanced and funny, so I'm trying to like create a structure, but I don't think there is one. I it is it There's a difference, right, between the feelings of self-awareness and noticing, because noticing doesn't have anything to do with the labels that you call yourself or whatever, the identities that you've claimed. Noticing is all about like what's here now, right? You don't have to like it, but we're going to ask you not to judge it either and to love yourself through it. So, with and I have a video on this called The Art of Noticing. It's a it's a good one. I think. Let me know what you think. but but notice the moments. Here's a practice for you. Notice the moments that you are um keeping yourself small because your self awareness labels that you've created have told you that you can't, or that you should, or that XYZ. I think sometimes with our self awareness labels, we outsource our inner wisdom. I know I have, where I'm late night scrolling on the gram and I come across a person who gives tips for ADHD, right? And I think to myself, this is it. This is the solution to my ADHD. This is like what I feel. And I do those practices because I think, oh, this is what's going to help me. It's not creating a schedule, but it's this, right? It's these like ADHD specific techniques. And really, what they're telling you is these are the things that have worked for me, right? And so they are sharing with you the things that have worked for them. And I can tell you that more than once, I have adopted some of these techniques and they did not work, right? Not because those people were wrong, but because we are different humans in different bodies. And you know what has helped? Noticing, noticing, noticing the moments that I am getting swept away with something. And sometimes it's just being gentle with myself and saying, you know what? I got ADHD. That's fine. Why am I trying to control it? That's who I am, right? I understand that there are moments that we need, you know, I would like to focus more, right, on certain things, but um I get that. I get that there are real life examples of like I actually want to help my ADHD in this way, but notice if those practices actually work for you or if they're continuing to keep you caged in this like box of your understand of your thing, and then serve as another reminder of why you're not good at life or whatever. Spoiler alert, all of us are figuring it out. And all of us are just sharing what works for us, right? Those are great things to respond to. But it's also very important that you notice what works for you and trust that if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't mean you're bad. It just means you tried something and you got some information. And thank God you have that information now. We like information. We want information. That's all right, right? And if you failed, you tried. And if you failed, you got information, right? And I'm going to guess that it's not like a full out failure that like made you fall flat on your face. It's just like, oh, I guess that ADHD technique didn't work for me today, you know? And maybe it's just today, maybe tomorrow it's fine, right? So, anyway, self-awareness paralysis. Have you experienced it? Does this feel like it helps? Do you understand the nuance between noticing and self-awareness? If you don't, I'll just make another video and we'll try again because you know what? We're here, we're trying, we're potentially failing. I don't know if you understand everything that I'm saying, and that's okay. But we made the video. Good for us, right? Like, good for me. That's great. Okay. So, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. If you need further explanation, I love to respond to things. So please let me know your thoughts. I love you. I'm sending you a lot of big love. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next video.